G'day and welcome to another edition of the Aussie Ideas Man. Another rushed one. I'm just too busy doing things with the family at the moment, and I have to do what I did last time, just stop them on rare occasions and rant a bit less than I would like to. But I feel it's best to be out in some sort of good timing than to put them out days too late. By the time I get to the fourth one, and that one that I postponed, they'll be pretty late. Anyway, let's see how we go.
So yeah, we are super excited about it. Of course, everyone's been waiting since 2020 for it. Now the solar, you guys are pretty much done with that, right?
Yeah, Reed's been killing it. Saw some new parts come off of more production-esque tooling today. It's great to see the performance numbers, kind of eclipsing where we thought some of the initial panels would be. We're still testing and evaluating some of the new cells, that we're going to be using towards production. So, there's still some testing and validation, going on there, but from a mechanical perspective, from, actually producing panels, we're producing panels for customers, we're producing panels for vehicles, and, they look great, they're performing great. Now we just need more and more vehicles to put them on.
Yeah. Now, how come we haven't seen solar generation data? Because that part's pretty much done, right?
Yeah, I think we teased it a little bit with the first runs, but we wanted to be, on vehicle data. With Solar Mule that's been testing for a while, but the actual solar charge controller that's in the vehicles is different than the one that's on the Solar Mule. So we're trying to match that up, and then hopefully be able to live stream some data, or at least have it ready when we start to have events at the facility, so people can come see how much it's producing and kind of match that up with their expectations for how well we're doing on the solar front. But I'm super impressed with everything Reed and team is doing, and it seems to be eclipsing my expectations of where we would be right now.
Okay, all right. Are you guys?
So far, two questions, neither of them answered. Answered like a politician. People think they've got an answer, but if they had any brains in their head, they would see that neither question was answered at all. And you know no better than had he never asked the questions. This is snake oil. This is the palavering that Chris Anthony has trained himself to do over many, many years. I believe he does stand in front of a mirror nightly so that it becomes second nature to him, and he's a master at it. As a talker, he's far better than I am, and I ever will be.
Do we have the glass hatch panel yet, or is that still we're waiting for the glass for that?
We're waiting for the glass hatch.
Okay.
I thought I saw them making glass roofs, but maybe it's a Reed question. You can do a whole another video with Reed, and he can
Okay. All right.
hold in on solar fun. But yeah, I think the rear hatch is an extremely large tool. And I think we have to pay some more tooling to actually get that to where we want it to be. So, we I think we pushed that off, though. I don't really have a perfect accounting of where that glass is right now.
Okay.
Now, you can take notice, and if you really want to learn how he snowballs everybody, pulls the wool over people's eyes, you just look at the length of time the question is and compare with the length of time every answer is to each question. It is an inordinate amount of time, and that's because that's what snake oil is all about. Baffle you with science, we used to say when I was a soldier. Just baffle them with science. And this is, well, it's not real science, but how would the dumb fanboys ever know? So he just sounds intelligent, and there's nothing behind it. Nothing at all. The rear hatch is a really good example of how they're not going anywhere. And they're at a stage now where they're probably saying, well, we can stall that until we're gone, because that is a real expense. A large chunk of glass that has to be shipped from, where was it? Portugal? Maybe Spain? I don't know. Wherever their glass supplier is. And at the Fartimus reveal, the guy said, oh, we're just a week or two away from it arriving. And now we have Chris Anthony saying that we haven't got the money to pay for it being made at all. So lies can always be found out when more than one person's telling them. And in this instance, we have pretty much caught them in another lie.
Now, when do we have a timeline on when we should expect to see the actual like production efficiency numbers, charging speeds, range, that kind of stuff? Like is Gemini going to be done in the next month, 2 months, 3 months? And when do we see that that kind of data? Because I think everyone's waiting for that validation data.
Yeah, you've you've kind of been along for the ride since we're a young company, and
Yes.
we've grown in our capabilities. We've grown in our staffing. We're also growing in kind of our compliance and reporting, which is kind of boring, snoozy terms, but we've got a great team that's kind of helping shape the company to be a bigger company that produces hopefully millions of these Aptera over time. And we're kind of following new rules on how we release information. So we've been more careful about making steady announcements and going through our communication channels.
Sure.
To me, I'm happy to talk to you after we kind of announce some of that stuff, but obviously we want to be the best prepared to be the biggest and most capable company we can be over the next few months, so we can start producing vehicles as quickly as possible. So I know you've got maybe lots of very specific questions, I'm sure, like a lot of our Aptera fans. But sometimes, I'll have to just say, more information is coming because, we're going to be putting it out through our direct channels and, being more judicious about how we release some of the data and information. But the testing and validation is going great. You can see from pictures in the shop, and I just did an NBC7 San Diego video today, and Gemini is up and being put together, and we have from what I can see, most of the parts in for Gemini. So it's really a matter of just mechanically buttoning it up and then getting it out and ready to test. So I don't see it being too much longer before we're starting to see some results from Gemini, and obviously Artemis is already driving around. Now it was up on the rack because firmware and software continues to evolve, and they take it out and they churn a bunch of data, then they have to go back and uncompile all that data and figure out exactly what's going on and what they wanted to do. But it was amazing to see the video of Artemis driving around. I was off traipsing around eating ramen in Japan, so I had to watch it virtually. But the first vehicles, all the reporting, great to see all the systems together in one vehicle working, and the team doing such a great job of just getting that vehicle done. Now we're off to the next phases of that vehicle, which is kind of testing and calibrating all of those systems and just making sure they work flawlessly. The testing and software will be kind of especially the software, kind of an in perpetuity thing. Your Tesla updates, like every 3 months.
Right.
That's our life for the foreseeable future, is that that the firmware and software will continue to evolve and get better and better over time, and that's kind of our life now.
Yeah.
Okay, so how long was the question? Oh, what's your timeline? Will it be in 2 or 3 months? How long was the answer? I can't even remember because he went that long. I lost track. He started off with doing a bit of bragging, and he started just covering all sorts of nonsense that meant nothing. And now what do I know about the question? What has been answered about? Is it 2 or 3 months? What's the timeline? I know nothing. He's told us nothing. That's the snake oil. You get it every time.
Your specific question was on kind of the timing of all those validation vehicles, and they're kind of all compressed and all running together right now. We're working on finishing up Artemis and getting it ready to go on some road trips and stuff. We want to get some video of it, obviously doing cool stuff, and then get it ready to go out and meet a lot of our Aptera fans. While Gemini will probably be more of a behind-the-scenes vehicle, where it's just for range testing and continuing kind of calibration of the production intent vehicle platform. That'll help us with drivetrain refinement and the work we're doing with InMotive, and then obviously on to the bigger and better things of airbag and ABS calibration and those big systems that it'll take to actually get the vehicle into production.
Yeah.
Gee, I thought he was finished, but he went on and on and on again. And still, I don't know. What's the timeline? Is it going to be in the next 3 or 4 months? Not a clue.
But are we gonna get those numbers from Gemini? Like, is the public gonna be told those numbers?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. All right.
Our goal as always is to be as transparent as possible, and eventually we'll have some people to kind of independently verify those things, which is kind of an intent for Gemini too, is that not only does it get validated by us, but it gets validated by others, and those test results get released, and everybody can feel good about this vision for solar mobility, right?
Okay, right.
Well, his goal is to be as transparent as possible. When he mentioned what is it, NO something, I can't remember the brand of the 2-speed gearbox, he said that they knew about it for about 18 months before they told anyone. And it's been like that with a number of things. We have them claim that he's as transparent as possible, and we discover that they've kept things from people, ordinary things, for as much as 2 years. The EMR3 motor was known for a long time before they decided, yep, we're switching to it. And the switch was instant.
And do we have do you guys have enough money to do the validation, or does that require more funding?
Well, some systems are expensive systems. The ABS and airbag systems, they really don't get kicked off for validation until we have a bigger funding event. So I would say in general, all the testing and validation that's in process now, yes, we've got plenty of money to fine tune the suspension and go through firmware code validation and work on the software and tune the drivetrain, that sort of stuff. But when it gets to airbags and ABS, we got to write some bigger checks to get those things going.
And so
now, once again, you heard the snake oil. He was a bit quicker that time, but essentially you can read between the lines and go, no, they don't have the money, which is interesting because Steve Fambro said that they had all the money to make 50 and told USCG this. We've got all the money set aside to make 50. Now, there was no caveat that, we'll make 50, but not with airbags and ABS included. We can do 50 and sell them. Now, think about it. Somebody has to be lying. Steve Fambro must have been lying if we take this, what I call a pathological liar, to task right now, where he says, no, we don't have the money. ABS and airbags are off the table because we haven't got enough money to even get them started. So how is it? How can they make 50 and have the money for 50 to sell and not have the money to do airbags and ABS and many other things that he doesn't mention, including that glass hatch? Doesn't have the money for that either. Doesn't have the money for just about everything else. The fake trikes are at a stalemate where they pretend to be real and there's too much undone and concealed. Wake up, you fanboys.
So far, those checks have not been written yet.
They have not been written, but there could be someone watching this video right now that's inspired by our story.
Yes, we need a billionaire.
Right.
We've been looking for one for a while.
Somebody could be watching, NBC7 down in San Diego tonight and just be like, that's how I want to make the world a better place, is by taking this company to make it happen.
There is too much wrong with the silly trike that throwing money at it can't fix. Throwing money at it just means I've got external noises that I wasn't expecting, but I'm just about done. You can't just throw money to buy production plant equipment. There's too much to fix to make the silly trike useful. That's all from me. Till part 3. Bye for now. Stay safe.